Fans of Outlander are already bracing themselves for an emotional goodbye as new details emerge from the upcoming eighth and final season. This week, Sam Heughan sparked major excitement after opening up about a powerful intimacy scene he recently dropped alongside co-star Caitriona Balfe, sending shockwaves through the fandom. According to Sam, the moment between Jaime and Claire Fraser is not just about physical closeness, but about everything the couple has endured over the years. He hinted that the scene carries deep emotional weight, reflecting love, survival, and the unbreakable bond that has defined the characters since season one. Insiders say the final season leans heavily into raw, honest storytelling, with no shortcuts taken as the series reaches its conclusion. Caitriona Balfe has also previously shared that Season 8 would not shy away from intimacy, especially when it serves the story. The actress emphasized that Jaime and Claire's connection has always been rooted in trust and shared trauma, making their final moments together even more meaningful for longtime viewers. As filming wrapped, cast members repeatedly described the final episodes as intense and heartbreaking, designed to honor both the characters and the loyal fan base. The newly teased intimacy scene is reportedly one of the most memorable of the season, not because of shock value, but because of the emotional history behind it. With the final chapter approaching, fans are already predicting tears, nostalgia, and one last unforgettable journey with Jaime and Claire. One thing is certain, Outlander is preparing to say goodbye in a way that ensures its most iconic love story will be remembered long after the final episode fades to black. What if love could survive centuries, but not the final goodbye? Outlander is heading into its last season, and Jaime and Claire's legendary time-traveling romance is racing toward a fiery end that's about to break fans' hearts forever. As the curtain prepares to fall on Outlander, one of television's most passionate and enduring romances, is heading toward a conclusion as sweeping and combustible as the journey that brought it to life. After years of war, separation, sacrifice, and soul-deep devotion, the final season promises to deliver a send-off worthy of a series that reshaped historical fantasy television and redefined what a time-traveling love story could be. From its debut, Outlander distinguished itself with an intoxicating blend of genres. It was never just a romance, nor merely a period drama, nor simply a fantasy rooted in time travel. Instead, it fused all three into a story that felt emotionally grounded, even as it leapt across centuries. At the heart of it all stood Claire Randall and Jaime Fraser, two characters whose love burned so fiercely it seemed capable of surviving wars, oceans, and even time itself. Fans have followed Claire and Jaime through the Scottish Highlands, colonial America, battlefields, prisons, and quiet domestic moments that felt just as consequential as any clash of swords. Every season layered new hardships atop old wounds, making the relationship not just romantic, but hard-earned. As the story reaches its end, the stakes feel deeply personal, not only for the characters, but for the audience that has grown alongside them. The show's time-traveling premise was never a mere gimmick. From the beginning, it served as a crucible, testing the limits of love and identity. Claire's displacement from the 20th century into the 18th forced her to navigate a brutal, unfamiliar world armed only with her intelligence, resilience, and compassion. Jaime, bound by honor and shaped by trauma, became both her anchor and her equal. Their bond challenged traditional portrayals of romance on television, emphasizing partnership, consent, and emotional intimacy alongside physical desire. Over the years, Outlander did not shy away from darkness. The series confronted violence, loss, and moral complexity with an unflinching gaze. These elements often sparked debate, but they also contributed to the show's raw honesty. Love, Outlander insisted, is not fragile porcelain. It is forged in fire. That philosophy has guided the series to its final chapter, where the consequences of every choice now converge. As the last season unfolds, the sense of finality is impossible to ignore. The characters are older, scarred by history, and acutely aware that peace is fleeting. The world around them is changing rapidly, shaped by revolutions and shifting loyalties. Against this backdrop, Jaime and Claire's relationship feels more urgent than ever, not because it is new, but because it has endured. Their love is no longer about discovery, it is about survival, legacy, and what remains when everything else is stripped away. One of the show's greatest strengths has always been its attention to detail. From costumes to sets to language and ritual, Outlander immersed viewers in each era it portrayed. The final season continues this tradition, using its historical canvas not as spectacle alone, but as emotional context. Every battlefield and hearthside conversation carries the weight of inevitability, reminding viewers that history does not bend easily, even for those who know what is coming. The performances anchoring the series have been instrumental in sustaining its intensity. The chemistry between the leads transformed written dialogue into lived experience, making even quiet scenes resonate. Over time, their portrayals deepened, allowing vulnerability and weariness to coexist with passion. In the final season, that evolution reaches its peak. Love here is not idealized. It is steadfast, sometimes fearful, and fiercely protective. Supporting characters, many of whom have journeyed alongside the central couple for years, also play crucial roles in bringing the story to its close. Their arcs reflect the ripple effects of Jaime and Claire's choices, illustrating how love can inspire courage, loyalty, and sacrifice in others. The final season treats these relationships with care, acknowledging that endings are rarely solitary affairs. What sets Outlander apart in its farewell is its refusal to rush. Rather than leaning solely on spectacle, the series allows moments to breathe. Silence, shared glances, and conversations heavy with unspoken meaning carry as much power as action. This measured approach reinforces the idea that the most significant battles are often internal, the struggle to hold on to hope, to forgive, and to choose love again and again in the face of loss. The theme of destiny versus free will, woven throughout the series, comes into sharp focus in the end. Time travel has always posed unsettling questions. Can the future be changed? Should it be? The final season grapples with these dilemmas not as abstract puzzles, but as lived realities. Knowledge becomes both a gift and a burden, forcing characters to confront the limits of control and the cost of intervention. For longtime viewers, the emotional resonance of the finale lies not just in plot resolution, but in reflection. Watching the final season is an act of remembrance, of earlier versions of these characters, of moments when everything seemed possible, and of the long road traveled since. The series invites its audience to consider how love evolves, how people are shaped by time, and how some connections remain unbreakable even as everything else changes. Culturally, Outlander leaves behind a formidable legacy. It expanded the scope of what romance-driven television could achieve, proving that stories centered on love could also be epic, political, and intellectually ambitious. It brought historical fiction to mainstream audiences while foregrounding a female protagonist whose strength lay as much in empathy as in defiance. Its influence can be felt in the wave of genre-blending series that followed. Time travel, after all, is a metaphor for memory, the way the past intrudes upon the present, shaping choices and identities. As Outlander draws to a close, it acknowledges that stories do not truly end when the screen fades to black. They persist in the minds of those who lived with them, argued over them, and found comfort in them. There is an undeniable sense of fire in the show's conclusion, not just in its dramatic moments, but in its emotional intensity. The love at the center of Outlander has always burned hot, sometimes dangerously so. In its final season, that fire does not diminish, it clarifies. What remains is not spectacle for its own sake, but the enduring glow of a relationship that defied time, violence, and fate. As the last episodes unfold, viewers are invited to let go while holding on, to accept that endings are necessary, even painful, and that their power lies in what they leave behind. Outlander ends not simply as a story about time travel, but as a testament to devotion that refuses to be erased by centuries or circumstance. The farewell also carries a quiet sense of gratitude between the story and the audience that sustained it for so many years. Few series enjoy the rare privilege of reaching a planned ending with such a devoted global following still firmly in place. The final season of Outlander feels shaped by that awareness, honoring not only the narrative threads, but the emotional investment viewers have poured into every reunion, every heartbreak, and every hard-won moment of peace. What makes this ending particularly resonant is its refusal to present love as an escape from history. Jaime and Claire never outran the world around them. Instead, they met it head-on. Wars still raged, revolutions still demanded blood, societal rules still constrained freedom. Yet within those limitations, they carved out something extraordinary, a partnership rooted in respect, equality, and shared purpose. The final season underscores that truth, emphasizing that love does not erase suffering, but gives it meaning. Aging, a theme rarely granted tenderness in genre television, is treated with unusual care. Jaime and Claire are no longer the reckless figures who first crossed paths at Craig na Dun. Time has etched itself into their bodies and spirits. Pain lingers longer, loss feels heavier, and yet their connection has deepened rather than faded. The final season allows that maturity to stand at the forefront, presenting a love that is quieter but no less powerful, steadied by memory and trust. The show's handling of intimacy in its final chapter reflects this evolution. Rather than relying solely on physical passion, the series leans into emotional closeness, shared fears, mutual understanding, and moments of vulnerability that feel earned. These scenes reinforce the idea that the truest measure of romance is not intensity alone, but endurance. Love, here, is choosing each other even when the future offers no guarantees. History itself becomes an almost sentient force as the story nears the end. Events loom with a sense of inevitability that cannot be ignored, no matter how much the characters might wish otherwise. This tension between knowing what will happen and hoping against hope has always been central to Outlander. In the final season, it sharpens every decision, turning even small acts of kindness into quiet rebellions against fate. Music, long a cornerstone of the show's emotional language, plays a particularly poignant role in the conclusion. Familiar melodies resurface, not as repetition, but as remembrance. Themes introduced years earlier return transformed, echoing how the characters themselves have changed. These auditory callbacks serve as emotional bridges between past and present, reinforcing the sense that the entire series has been moving inexorably toward this moment. Every character who reaches the end has paid a price, some visible, others deeply internal. Trauma is not neatly resolved, nor is it forgotten. Instead, it is acknowledged as part of the fabric of their lives. This honesty has always set Outlander apart, and it remains a defining feature of its farewell. Survival is not portrayed as triumph alone, but as persistence. In bringing the story to a close, the series resists the temptation to tie every thread into a perfect bow. Some questions linger, some futures are left implied rather than spelled out. This restraint feels intentional, honoring the complexity of life itself. Not every story has a clean ending, but that does not diminish its meaning. If anything, it enhances it. For fans who discovered Outlander in its early days, the final season carries a sense of shared history. Viewers have changed alongside the characters, grown older, weathered their own losses, and found solace in the show's constancy. Watching the final episodes becomes almost a communal act, a collective acknowledgement of time past and stories lived. The fiery end promised by the series is not defined solely by destruction or spectacle. Instead, it burns with emotional truth. It is the fire of conviction, of loyalty tested and reaffirmed, of love that refuses to fade quietly. In choosing this path, Outlander remains faithful to its core identity, closing its story with the same intensity and sincerity that first drew audiences in. As the final moments approach, the series gently reminds viewers why it mattered, not because of its battles or its twists, but because it believed in love as a transformative force, one capable of shaping lives, altering choices, and enduring across impossible distances. That belief is the show's true legacy. When the screen finally goes dark, Outlander leaves behind more than memories of time travel and historical drama. It leaves a testament to storytelling that dares to be romantic without being naive, brutal without being hollow, and emotional without apology. Its ending does not signal loss alone, but completion, a journey told fully, honestly, and with heart. The sense of completion that defines Outlander's final season is inseparable from its willingness to embrace change. From the very beginning, the series argued that time is not merely a destination, but a force that reshapes everything it touches. In these closing chapters, that philosophy comes full circle. The characters are no longer fighting time itself, they are learning how to live within its boundaries, even as those boundaries tighten. Family, a recurring and deeply emotional theme throughout the series, takes on renewed significance as the story nears the end. Bloodlines, chosen kin, and inherited trauma all converge, underscoring how love extends beyond romance alone. Jaime and Claire's relationship has always been the core, but the final season makes clear that their legacy lies in the lives they've touched and the values they've passed on. What survives them matters just as much as what they survive. The show's portrayal of motherhood and fatherhood, often complicated, sometimes painful, adds another layer of resonance to the finale. Parenthood in Outlander has never been idealized. It has been marked by absence, fear, and sacrifice. In the final season, these realities are neither softened nor ignored. Instead, they are acknowledged as part of the cost of loving deeply in an unforgiving world. That honesty gives the ending a grounded emotional weight that lingers. Visually, the series continues to use landscape as emotional shorthand. Rolling hills, dense forests, and open skies reflect the inner states of its characters, reminding viewers that nature has always been both refuge and threat. In the final season, these settings feel almost elegiac, beautiful, familiar, and tinged with farewell. Each return to a known place carries the subtle awareness that it may be the last. Conflict, too, is handled with a sense of reckoning rather than escalation. Instead of endlessly raising the stakes, the final season focuses on consequence. Actions taken years earlier now demand answers. Choices once made in desperation reveal their long shadows. This approach reinforces the series' central truth. Nothing exists in isolation, and time remembers everything. One of the most striking aspects of Outlander's ending is its emotional restraint. Rather than relying on constant climaxes, the series trusts the accumulated weight of its story. Moments of tenderness land harder because of what came before them. Goodbyes feel heavier because viewers understand exactly what is being left behind. The final season assumes its audience remembers and rewards that memory. The idea of home, long elusive for characters torn between centuries and continents, finally comes into focus. Home, in Outlander, has never been a fixed location. It has been a person, a promise, a shared sense of belonging. As the series closes, that definition is affirmed. Home is where love is chosen, even when everything else is uncertain. In stepping away from the screen, Outlander also cements its place within the broader television landscape. It demonstrated that audiences would follow complex, emotionally demanding stories across years and genres. It trusted viewers with ambiguity and pain, rather than simplifying its narrative for easy consumption. That confidence became one of its greatest strengths. In many ways, Outlander feels like a quiet conversation between the show and its fans. It does not shout its significance, it lets it be felt. Every callback, every mirrored moment, every subtle echo of earlier seasons serves as an invitation to remember, not just the plot, but the feelings that first made the journey matter. As the story reaches its final breath, there is a profound sense that nothing essential has been left unsaid. The love story at the heart of Outlander does not end because it fails or fades, it ends because it has been fully told. That distinction is crucial, and it is what gives the conclusion its emotional integrity. Ultimately, the fiery end promised by the final season is not an explosion, but an ember, steady, glowing, and enduring. It is the warmth of a story that understood its purpose and honored it until the very last moment. Outlander closes its chapter not with regret, but with gratitude for the time spent, the love shared, and the journey completed.